Hello and welcome to Inside the Man Cave, the only show on the internet where a bunch of guys talk about comic books in the basement. I'm Daniel Feehan, and I'm joined here by two of my friends. First up, he is the creator of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Facebook page. It's Mr. Andrew Gifford.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
And next up, he is the man of 999 voices, but there's room for 1,000. It's Joey DeAngelis.
Oh, yes. I'm really excited to be on this program, Mr. Feehan.
Oh, it's 50-50 chance whether he would actually do that. All right, so we have a lot of topics to get through and not much time. Well, depends. We'll see how much gets edited out.
We will find out.
We shall discover. Okay, so we're going to start off with some quick topics to talk about. There was a lot of conventions this week. Brazilian Comic-Con, PlayStation Experience. A lot of great stuff came from that. Stuff that drew our attention, of course, being mostly comic book related. First up, I just wanted to bring up Billy D. Williams, of course, best known as Lando Calrissian in the Star Wars trilogy.
I thought you were going to say Harvey Dent.
Well, I was getting to that.
I know. I was just making fun.
Yes. Anyway, as we all know, he was in 1989's Batman, and he's finally, after, 20-plus years? Finally,
20-plus years.
20-plus years, finally playing Two-Face in a Batman movie, in the Lego Batman movie coming out next February. So, Joey, what do you think about that?
I love stuff like this when they get, especially in this situation where Billy D never got the chance to really play Two-Face, and he's been given the opportunity to do so in what looks to be a really fun movie. And you guys have seen all those Lego Batman trailers. It looks a lot of fun.
What if this is the best Batman movie?
Oh, I have my money set on that. I love Lego, so this is going to be really fascinating. I'm loving the designs for every character in this. Like Killer Croc has like generic Lego crocodile mouth, which is really cool. And Billy D. Williams' design as Two-Face is really interesting. You know, it's like his bad half is a skull, and his hair is like jello kind of thing. Kind of like it's melting, and you can see his boxer shorts for comedy. Just really interesting how they're melding all the movies together. Like the Penguin looks like Danny DeVito's version, and stuff like that. And it's interesting how they're doing a lot of flipping on the races. You know, Two-Face is African American now. So is Barbara Gordon and Commissioner Gordon. So it's really interesting that they're taking a new turn on the Batman universe.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Another thing this makes me think of is the Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders.
Absolutely.
Where we got Julie Newmar in the movie. And it was interesting because Julie Newmar was never in the Batman 66 movie, and she finally got a chance to be in a Batman 66 related movie.
At long last.
A lot of us have wanted to see what Billy D. Williams' Harvey Dent would have been. You know, so it's cool to see even like the filmmakers, wanted to see this themselves. Like they even thought to do it. And it's cool that they were able to get him.
It really shows how committed he is to the project that he waited this long. We could have used him in Batman Forever, that's for sure, instead of Tommy Lee Jones. I love the actor, but I mean he wasn't the best Two-Face. Next up on the list, Marvel vs. Capcom. Finally, the fourth in the series of Marvel vs. Capcom, called Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, was announced. Coming next year, we have 4 confirmed characters. On the Capcom side, we have Mega Man X, which took them long enough. Last game, we only had Tron Bonne and Zero. I know you guys are looking at me like I'm insane because you're not hardcore video gamers.
Not really at all. Yeah, no.
All right. So, also Ryu, of course, from Street Fighter. I mean, you have to get Ryu in the game. And, of course, on the Marvel side, which is what we care about, so far we have Iron Man, which was obvious, and Captain Marvel, which I was surprised that was the first character, one of the first characters they announced. Now, obviously, we don't know that much about it. All we know is that it's 2 players that you select as opposed to 3, and you will be able to wield the Infinity Stones as power-ups. So Power Stone will probably give you more damage, and Time Stone will allow you to teleport. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens in fighting game type style. I liked Marvel vs. Capcom 3's fighting, but without a story mode, it just could not hold itself up. And locking most of the characters behind another game you had to buy was really insulting. And I really wanted to play as Frank West, so that's my major problem with that. Hopefully they fix that, and hopefully they make a wise choice with the roster, because the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 did not have the greatest roster ever. I mean, they brought in fan favorites like Deadpool, but a couple of the choices weren't the best, to be honest. They could really benefit from all the popularity of Guardians of the Galaxy and other Marvel characters, but Of course, the biggest thing many people are worried about is the fact that the X-Men will probably not be as frequent, or the Fantastic Four even. I mean, they compromised in MVC3 by having the Super Skrull in the game, so he had all the powers of the Fantastic Four in one character. Mm-hmm. But it will be interesting to see what happens in the coming months. We don't know when it's coming out, but we will probably get a slow roster reveal over the course of the couple months. Next up in video games, Guardians of the Galaxy. We have a lot to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy, but the first thing we want to talk about is Guardians of the Galaxy, a Telltale game, is being released. Have any of you guys played Telltale games?
I've played the first 3 episodes of the Game of Thrones Telltale game, which really helped me in the wait between seasons. It was an interesting experience, I'd say.
I played the Batman Telltale game with my brother,
which
I loved.
Yeah.
It's a great experience.
Yeah, Telltale, if you guys aren't aware, is a really is a great company. They mostly specialize in the point-and-click adventure games, which is almost a lost art form nowadays, but they've been keeping it alive. They've gotten tons of amazing properties over the years. They got really big with Back to the Future, which was a great game, honestly, really good. Had a great impersonator for Marty. And it was a great continuation to the story. Mm-hmm. Jurassic Park, the game, not really that great, although it did have some really funny death animations because it wasn't violent in any way, even though it had raptors and stuff.
Right.
Obviously, like you said, Joey, Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead was the big one.
That's the one that I always hear whenever I hear anybody talk about Telltale is The Walking Dead.
Yeah, Walking Dead Game of the Year for many, and it's really surprising, like a game where you mostly just walk around and interact with stuff was Game of the Year for many people. It's really impressive, and of course, recently they had Batman, a Telltale game, which took a new spin on the Batman lore. I didn't really play it honestly, but I did like some of the choices they made to the universe. Like it's not the Arkham series, it's not the comic books. It's kind of in its own world, and it kind of tries to tell a unique story where Bruce is the focus of the story rather than Batman, which is great. So hopefully we'll be able to see Probably we'll focus mainly on Peter Quill, but I'm sure we'll be able to maybe play with other characters in the Guardians universe.
Well, here's the thing too is that I've only played the Game of Thrones Telltale game, but Game of Thrones is very much an ensemble story, and you basically play in that game at least you play as this family of Westeros and the different members of that family. So. Especially because Game of Thrones is such a large universe that you have to be in different places and such. I could see, in certain respects, having to play as Drax or Gamora or the other Guardian characters.
So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, Telltale game coming out. They didn't show much. It was just literally the logo, and they played a song. I can't recall what the song was, but
Dancing in the Moonlight. I love that song.
Yeah,
I thought it was a perfect choice for the Telltale.
But it's nice that Guardians of the Galaxy has basically become like the foray for every artist to put old music on. But I'm really excited for it. Next up, SpiderMan Homecoming. I was honestly hoping we'd come here today to talk about the trailer, but sadly it did not happen. But we did get some interesting news from the Brazilian Comic-Con, mainly the fact that Spider-Man will be having underarm webbing, like in the classic comic books made by Steve Ditko. It was a quick little tease, just showed Happy Hogan giving Peter Parker a new Spider-Man suit, probably the same one, but just modified.
Yeah.
And basically, according to the post, he jumped off the Washington Monument and started to glide with his webbing, which is really interesting.
Well, it's going to be cool because there's going to be a lot of aerial battles with the Vulture, so that's going to come in handy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a nice throwback to the early comics. In some cases, you wouldn't expect them to go there, that comic booky, but leave it to Marvel. They'll do it.
See, the more I think about it, the more I'm actually really excited to see the Vulture in there because I always like the idea that he could go above the building, so it's kind of like Spider-Man's kind of stuck on the ground. He can't web swing or anything. It's going to be an interesting fight. And I'm glad that Michael Keaton is going to be playing the role. I mean, geez.
I think for a lot of people, Michael Keaton as the Vulture legitimizes the movie. You know, a lot of people, I think, that maybe wouldn't have been interested before are more interested now because of Michael Keaton as the Vulture.
Yeah, and just so you know, there are rumors, well, I think it's been confirmed, actually, that Spider-Man Homecoming will have a trailer premiering on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this week or next week.
That's a rumor. It's not confirmed, but let's hope.
we can hope, and you'll definitely hear from it on Inside the Man Cave for sure.
Are we going to see a trailer maybe in front of Rogue One for Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yeah, well, they said that will be the case, so expect the trailer to be online a little before then.
Yeah,
within the next week.
Other MCU stuff that happened at Brazilian Comic-Con, we saw a teaser image for Thor Ragnarok, which showed the God of Thunder finally wielding a helmet.
Yeah.
Wielding a helmet and a sword, going into battle with the Hulk in his classic World War Hulk storyline, or his outfit from Planet Hulk.
This picture did a lot to get me excited because not only do you see the helmet, but he also has swords, and it's cool that they're going to show him in combat with more than just the hammer. Mm-hmm. They'll show he actually does, know a lot more like tactile stuff. It'll be neat seeing him in action in the Coliseum.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm sure maybe it'll be sort of a role reversal of the Planet Hulk movie, like the animated movie where we saw Hulk battle Beta Ray Bill. Sort of maybe the Hulk is the champion and Thor has to face him not knowing that it's the Hulk.
Right.
I mean, that was great. There was actually a great line in the movie where Beta Ray Bill basically goes, "Hulk, I know of you. The halls of Asgard ring with the tales of your rage." And Hulk goes, "They haven't heard anything yet."
Oh, boy.
It should be very fun. I really hope the Hulk talks. I really hope we can hear stuff.
Mark Ruffalo did tease, the Hulk would kind of evolve.
Yeah, I love the Hulk, but it's always nice to hear him talk. Earth's Mightiest Hero style, he's the brute of the team, but he still is smart enough to know stuff going on. And it's always funny. But still pretty cool. We're going to look forward to that next year.
I hope Thor 3 is good. Because the other two I would definitely say are the weak links of the MCU so far.
Indeed, quite so. Next up, some trailers. We were hoping to come to you guys with the Mummy trailer, which is supposed to debut today, but unfortunately at the time of recording it has not debuted, but we can still talk about it.
Yeah, we might even... I know, speaking as a Universal Monsters fan, I will probably record something in reaction to it.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, the Mummy reboot. I mean, this is the second... Well, accounting the Universal 90s version with Brendan Fraser... the Hammer version, of course, the classic version, Boris Karloff. There have been a lot of reboots of The Mummy, and each one has tried a different angle. Of course, everyone remembers the 90s version, Brendan Fraser, was basically a huge Indiana Jones ripoff, honestly, in my opinion. I still love the movie. I think it has some good, decent special effects.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it doesn't try to be horror element, which I think is okay, because mummies aren't particularly scary anymore.
Well, this goes to my point with the problem with the Universal Monsters shared universe. The problem is the horror genre has changed so much since when the Universal Monsters were on top of the world.
Yep.
I mean, if you told a youngster today that people fainted at Frankenstein, they would laugh at you.
The problem is a lot of people at this point, they're really desensitized.
Indeed.
And like I said, horror is now, there's the Exorcist kind of stuff, the jump scares, and horror is very low budget now and more contemporary, whereas...
even notice, though, with this teaser for the trailer, notice they put a lot of emphasis more on the action, not the horror.
Which is how you get a big, sprawling cinematic universe if they want to go the route of Marvel. The most intriguing thing about this was the tagline, "Welcome to a new world of gods and monsters." For those of you who are unfamiliar with that quote, it's actually spoken by Dr. Pretorius from the 1935 classic monster film, The Bride of Frankenstein. This tagline, we were talking about this earlier, kind of implies that we're dealing with a shared universe here.
That's a great tip of the hat.
I think that's kind of a neat thing, but we'll see.
Honestly, I can admire Universal Studios for going this route, bringing back the classic monsters. Mm-hmm. I feel like it, for some monsters, it is time to see something from them. I mean, remember, the 90s was a big heyday for these monsters. We had Bram Stoker's Dracula, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Hollow Man, The Howling, Wolf, stuff like that. And, I always wanted to see a remake of Creature from the Black Lagoon. I mean, geez. there hasn't been a good one of those since the 50s. So
I think what really stands out to me the most in this teaser, though, is the shot of the mummy's eyes splitting in two. That was really cool. And then Russell Crowe makes a brief appearance as Dr. Jekyll,
which is weird to say the least.
That's going to be interesting to see like what he does with that character. And then Tom Cruise, I think.
It's Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it's Tom Cruise, but I'm like, you know what? Tom Cruise is a great way to get like general audience members into this, kind of as like your, the guide to this world.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Again, Tom Cruise, aside from the Mission Impossible movies, he hasn't really had too many hits in the last couple of years.
I think I just more respect him and his choices.
Oh, of course. No question about that. I'm just, questioning his status as like a box office guy nowadays. But, again, we have the brand name of The Mummy, and when is this coming out in 2017? Is this...
I'm going to take a wild guess and say probably late summer.
I think it was like May or June.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought they moved the date or something, because isn't that around the time of like Wonder Woman and Transformers?
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be a crowded
You see,
summer.
that's the problem with summers nowadays. It's like every weekend there is something coming out.
So, I mean, if you don't make that first weekend, you're kind of screwed.
You're screwed. And if you don't succeed in China, you are screwed.
Indeed. So, moving on to the big finale. Half the big finale,
This is
anyway.
the penultimate segment of this program.
Indeed, Joey. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 trailer debuted last night. It's quite a spectacle, to say the least. First Guardians of the Galaxy, definitely one of Marvel's best. Great music, great characters, great script, very funny. A lot of people love it. I mean, who would have figured, like, back when, Avengers first came out, or earlier than that, who would have figured that Guardians of the Galaxy would be not only a hit, but one of Marvel's biggest successes and one of their most critically received movies of all time?
And now let's remember this, Fihan. The year Guardians came out was also the same year as the 5th Spider-Man movie that we've had. It was another X-Men movie, and we had Captain America 2. A lot of them, all those movies made above $700 million, but Guardians... I think outside of X-Men's worldwide total, Guardians was like was the one that made more money than any of them.
Yeah, Marvel really wiped the floor with its competitors that year. I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 2 was terrible in my opinion. I know you have different opinions, Andrew, but I thought it was terrible. X-Men Days of Future Past was okay, decent. But, I mean, Marvel had an amazing year that year with Winter Soldier, probably one of their best, if not the best.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. And then I guess let's get back to the trailer.
Indeed.
What I took away from this trailer and what I liked about it the most was we all can generally discern what a Marvel plot is. They got the villain, you got the heroes, big explosion at the end, bada boom, and 2 after credit scenes. But with this trailer, we know nothing about the plot. We know that we have the Guardians, and we have new characters like Mantis and all those other people, and it's just fun and just has a lot of action.
Well, I mean, that's what this trailer really is about, isn't it? It's just showing, hey guys, look, it's all the characters you know and love.
And let's keep this in mind too. This is like the second teaser we've gotten for this movie. We had another. Yeah. I was just remembering that going, oh yeah, we had another trailer like before that.
Yeah, well, like you look back on this trailer, it's like they don't show Ego. There's a lot they're holding back. I wonder how much they're going to like save for the movie itself.
I mean, again, we'll see more once the movie gets closer, but it is interesting how much they're really keeping to the chest with this one.
Yeah.
Which is great. I think Marvel really is learning you have to keep this stuff secret, because if you know the plot of a movie when you're going in, you're not going to have a fun time, or you may. But, if they spoil the story and the best jokes, I feel like they're probably going to keep the better jokes in the movie, like save it for that, and keep the trailer to a minimum. No. I mean, let's be honest. The whole reason this trailer exists is just to show people Groot is in it, and he's a baby, and he's adorable.
Well, the other thing I want to mention, too, is that we have to realize this. Guardians has an advantage because this is the second Guardians film. We all know and love the first Guardians. And it's not like this movie has to tell us, okay, this is what this movie's about.
Oh, yeah, they just jump right into this.
They just jump right in. It's like, so think about like the Force Awakens like trailers in a way, where Force Awakens they didn't need to tell you what the movie was about at all. We didn't get barely any information until like the third and final trailer for Force Awakens, what exactly this movie was about. We knew that Han Solo was going to be in it. We knew all these other things were going to be in it. Star Wars was a brand at that point where you don't need to show all that much. Guardians, not on the level of Star Wars, but very similar in the idea that it's like, people are going to see a movie with these guys anyway.
Oh, yeah.
You already got our ticket, but we want to see some stuff, and we got some stuff.
We got plenty of stuff, in fact. I'm digging the color scheme for this. Seems like we're finally going to be getting some actual space combat, which is something that, surprisingly, the first movie didn't even have. We never really got combat that's actually in space.
We got more stuff that was in the atmosphere.
Which is great.
In this movie, I'm hoping that Drax really earns the title of Destroyer, because he wasn't really as great in fighting combat as I would have hoped in the first movie.
Well, in this one, they obviously show the big fight with the obelisk monster, as it's called. And
that's a great shot of him like jumping towards it.
It seems like he's probably going to get swallowed because they show that shot of him like stabbing at the stomach, which is one of my favorite shots. Because it's just he's like smiling or screaming, and of course the line "Screw you, spaceship."
Yeah. Baby Groot did steal the trailer, but Drax in the trailer, Batista is really like the unsung.
We're seeing memes with Groot and Drax from this trailer already.
Yeah,
it's pretty ridiculous. But I think it's safe to say we all really dug this trailer.
Yeah, I'm really hoping James Gunn isn't worn out by this one, because there were people who were worried that he may end up like Joss Whedon, just completely blown out by doing a sequel, like trying to up the ante. That, it just, things kind of go down for him. Like, obviously not in a bad way, just in a kind of, I don't want to do many projects now or anything like that.
Right.
I really hope he does able to move on to other projects, maybe as a co-director for Infinity War. I'd really be interested in his sort of, his sense of humor for Guardians in the Infinity War.
I think Gunn really, really does have like in a way the best job in the world.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, he is his sensibilities and the way he made this the first Guardians movie is so in tune with the Marvel formula. You don't necessarily mind the Marvel formula in the movie because it actually kind of works for the movie, and it feels like he's given a lot of freedom, especially after how much of a hit the first Guardians was. Feels like when I hear him on social media, he's really like grateful to be on these projects. Because think about it this way: you're a director whose previous projects, a lot of them weren't really that big,
Yeah, really crazy too.
Really crazy, and you're given like basically like a $250 million budget. Go make a movie with a talking tree and talking raccoon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go nuts.
I remember when I was younger, Andrew, you remember this. This was how we sort of met. I was saying, man, that Thor movie isn't going to work out. That Captain America movie is probably going to be stupid.
I remember this.
I wish I could go back in time and tell myself, no, stick with it. Because eventually they're going to make a movie based on Guardians of the Galaxy with the guy who wrote Scooby-Doo the movie. And Slither and Tromeo and Juliet.
You know what, though? Going back to what you were saying about James Gunn, the thing is, because James Gunn doesn't have much going on aside from Guardians, I'm not too concerned with him moving on. I think that he's found the perfect place for him to be at.
And I could see him like become like a consultant on like future projects.
Yeah, I could see him like becoming a producer. Like, because Jon Favreau still produces some of these.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Volume 2, we're really excited for it. Can't wait to see what happens. All right, on to the topic of the day.
This topic was sorry, interrupted.
No problem.
This topic was submitted by our friend Allison Cola. I was talking to her like, yeah, what do you think we should talk about? Or she was just saying anyway that what property, book, game, board game, etc., would you make into a movie adaptation? I guess non-superhero.
Let's just disqualify.
We're disqualifying superheroes, but something that's never been adapted into a movie. What would we make into a movie?
And let's add that it can't be a project that's already in the works. I mean, my first choice was going to be Meg, my absolute favorite book by Steve Alton about the giant megalodon shark. But the movie's actually being made many, many years later, finally being made with Jason Statham of all people. What do you guys think? What are your choices? I'll keep mine to last.
My choice, I guess I'll go first. Clifford looked like he was about to say something, but I'm going to go on.
Go on.
Screw Clifford.
Screw him.
Screw him.
Whatever.
My choice was actually an unmade movie.
Oh, boy.
It was also made into a book. There's also a really great book about it. The movie is War Eagles.
Oh.
Have you heard of War Eagles, Feehan?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm saying,
You are going to love this, Feehan.
You have to school us.
I know you will love this.
Oh,
okay.
do
So
tell.
let me explain this. Okay. Imagine 1930s. You got Willis O'Brien, special effects genius on King Kong, The Lost World, Mighty Joe Young. That was later on, but yeah, he did those. And you got Marion C. Cooper, the creator of King Kong. Okay? And remember, Marion C. Cooper was very much into aviation. So the basic story of this goes like this.
Quick question, Joe.
Yeah, what's up?
I might be wrong, but was Howard Hughes involved in this?
He might have.
Okay.
He might have been. But going off of what I was going to say, so with this movie, it's like a lost world. It's got dinosaurs, a lot of dinosaurs.
Shocker.
But we also have people who ride on giant eagles.
Huh.
We have people who ride on giant eagles, and there's actually, I'll show you guys later, and there's actually like test footage images where they have like the eagle stop motion figure and the T-Rex stop motion figure. A guy would have landed on there, and it would have kind of been like Avatar, James Cameron's Avatar. And then what happens is, this is during World War II, so the Nazis are going to attack New York City. But what attacks the Nazis back? People on flying eagles.
Sold.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why not?
I am a fan of just ridiculous things. So giant eagles and Nazis and dinosaurs in the 1940s.
You know who should write and direct this?
Who?
James Gunn.
Sure.
It sounds, it's just really, really bonkers. There's actually a great book on it by the late Philip J. Riley, and I forgot the other author's name, but it was written a while ago. If you might be able to find it if you Google search it, but War Eagles would be my pick because it was supposed to be a movie, was never made, and it was adapted into a book that was presented by Ray Harryhausen. He didn't write it, but it was written by somebody else, but he kind of presented it. So War Eagles would be my choice to adapt into a movie.
Wow. That's
Okay.
How do you top
Awesome.
Eagles attacking Nazis?
Yeah, I don't think my choice will top it.
Me neither.
Well, I think more people would love your choice, Gifford.
Yeah, it's very simple. But so my choice, and I'll keep this very simple and straight to the point. It's Legend of Zelda.
Oh.
Because of the mythology there that you can explore. You could do a whole trilogy, like very Lord of the Rings-esque. Very, just grand and, an epic spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have been wanting this because Legend of Zelda is one of the most successful video game properties of all time.
Right.
People want to see Nintendo, get more into Hollywood.
Do something.
Do something, yeah.
I mean,
well,
I mean,
I don't blame them for being scared after Super Mario
Oh,
Brothers.
I love that movie. with Riff Tracks commentary added to it.
Yeah. But so yeah, Legend of Zelda. I've always been interested in like the Triforce and the different timelines, and also just with the Nintendo's really making a bigger push right now. They're trying to get involved in like Universal with their theme park coming up.
Which is something I forgot to add to our topic list. Of course, Nintendo will be working with Universal Studios to bring a possible Nintendo Land to Universal Studios. I mean, how crazy is this? I mean, especially because they did such an amazing job with the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I mean, it'll be interesting. I'm really hoping it's not all Super Mario Brothers. And I hope it's not just like one big ride like with Harry Potter and then tons and tons of shops.
Well, I'll be okay as long as the detail, the attention to detail is there. But I do like, the choice for Legend of Zelda just seems so obvious.
It's honestly surprising they haven't tried to do this.
Well, the main problem with Legend of Zelda is it does focus on Link, who is, for the most part, a silent protagonist. And it is difficult. I mean, you could have a character who's like the avatar character for the audience who like does follow Link around on his journeys, and Link is always just a silent protagonist. But it's still going to be it would be very interesting to see the world of Zelda brought to life, because there's so many different games, and each of them have a different style. Like Ocarina of Time is a different style from Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess is a different style from Majora's Mask. Mm-hmm. I never played a Legend of Zelda game in my life, except for the first one, but I know all these because I'm on YouTube. I know the YouTubes. Okay.
So that's a good pick. Feehan,
All right, I'm pretty sure you guys already know what my choice is. But as a great man once said, a man chooses, a slave obeys. And that is indeed the quote done by Andrew Ryan in Bioshock.
Shocker.
Gee, thanks, Andrew. But Bioshock is one of my absolute favorite games of all time. I would love the world of Rapture to be brought to the screen. It almost was for a time. I think Guillermo del Toro was even attached to the project.
Which makes too much sense.
I mean, Rapture is just way too cool of a city to, like, ignore. The biggest problem is, obviously, the main character, Jack, is, much like Link, a silent protagonist. But you can change that by making the story a little different. I mean, Bioshock Infinite, even though story or gameplay, I mean, it did have a protagonist who talked, and it did have a more linear storyline. So you could do something like that for Rapture. And my choice for a story would actually be kind of interesting in that in Bioshock 2, I know for those of you who have played Bioshock, keep with me, you find audio diaries lying around from a man named Mark Meltzer, who actually appeared earlier before Bioshock 2's release in several like posts on the internet that were meant to be sort of his investigations into Rapture, which are really great viral marketing, I'll be honest. And basically the story behind him, he's like a detective. He's researching like all these children who are going missing by the sea, taken by big sisters who are like the enemies in Bioshock 2. And basically, like, his daughter gets kidnapped by a big sister, and he goes to find Rapture and finds it. So sort of adapt that into the plot of Bioshock, and you have a reasonable guy who's not used to Rapture and finds it, and it's really cool. It's one of the best game settings ever. Just a beautiful dystopia that's been destroyed by war and insanity, and just the idea of plasmids alone adds a lot of opportunities. But yeah, Bioshock, my choice for a reboot. So we have eagles fighting Nazis.
Yes.
A silent ferryman in a skirt saving a princess from a pig. And,
pretty much. And
an underwater city that deals a lot with Randian philosophy.
I think we definitely have a lot of interesting ideas here. I love that I'm the only one who's not a video game. It's stop motion.
The most obscure like thing you could
stop motion eagles fighting Nazis and dinosaurs are involved.
I'll be honest. For a moment, I thought you were going to do the Wolfman versus Dracula, that unfinished script that was released.
I think Philip J. Riley also did a book on that too. The guy I was mentioning earlier. But yeah, no, that was some really good discussion points and some properties. If you guys listening have a topic you want us three guys from Jersey to discuss, please comment on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the Movie Squad. We should be having the Fantastic Beast and Where to Find Them discussion sometime in the future. Gifford?
Yes, it'll be up. I'll get right on that, Joey.
That will happen. I will be posting a Mummy reboot reaction video at some point, probably Monday or Tuesday. Feehan, you were going to say something?
And then next time, hopefully, we might be able to talk about the SpiderMan Homecoming trailer, and other stuff that pops up. So that's my final thoughts.
Very good, folks. Thank you so much for listening in. Again, like, share, subscribe, comment, leave us your thoughts. What do you think we should discuss? What are your thoughts on all the news bulletins that we talked about today? Adios, friends.
Goodbye.
Bye.